You're listening to Errol Parker and Clancy Overall, editors of the Batuta Advocate on Desert Rock FM.
Welcome back to the Batuta Advocate radio show, recording live here in the Budgie Smuggler booth in downtown Batuta in the Old City District. And today is a momentous occasion for the Batuta Advocate radio show and for the newsroom downstairs. We have a visitor that we're all excited about having in the building, someone we've been chasing for quite some time. And we're lucky now. In COVID, everyone's kind of travel patterns, and in fact, everyone's kind of work-life balance is a bit off, and so we were lucky enough to have this bloke coming through town. That is great excitement. You're, of course, joined by myself, Clancy Overall, editor of the Batuta Advocate, and editor-at-large, Errol Parker. How are you, Errol?
Good to be here, mate. Still raining outside.
Yep, still raining. It's a bit wet. And luckily for today's guest, there's a pub down the road that we can all go and pull into afterwards and find a little port in the storm, if you will. A lot of the locals will be very stoked about him being here. Thank you for joining us, Shannon Noll.
Thanks, boys. It's great to be here.
You're back on the road. I mean, obviously, this pandemic has been crushing for a lot of live performers. Yeah. But, you know, like everything, like Jurassic Park, life will find a way.
Oh, I'm glad it has, mate. Yeah, it's things are starting to open up again. You know, It's obviously very touch and go with the numbers side of things. You know, it's very hard. You know, like it's hard enough for venues to make money out of it anyway, let alone 25%. You know, capacity. So, you know, we can just hope that it moves quickly through the stages, I suppose, and we can finally get some decent numbers in there. The big question for me is the social distancing. That sort of seems like the new norm. So we're all fucked if that's the case.
Sitting down, listening to Nollsy.
We could have got 600 in here. We can only get 60.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully, you know, just to be out and play a gig again, mate. I did Darwin on the weekend, which was fantastic. So it was really good to get back on stage again.
Now, Shannon, as a farm boy from central New South Wales, how does this drought now that's affecting the music industry compare to the Millennium Drought?
Mate, I'll tell you, very similar. That's for sure. I can't believe that I can cop it both ends, if you know what I mean. Straight off the farm out of a drought, and then this happens. But you know, I mean, obviously, there's no comparison, mate. I mean, theirs was the worst drought in 100 years, and I suppose people in that situation have a capability of preparing to whatever degree they possibly can in some way by storing hay or something like that, you know. But what we're going through was pretty, you know, hard to prepare for, obviously, because it just came out of the blue. But yeah, I think farm folk, mate, are hardened to this sort of thing, and it happens on a regular basis. I think you're mad if you're going into farming think you're never going to be affected by a drought. So
it's not real estate.
That's right.
You're not selling apartments in Sydney, mate.
That's right. So, you know, hopefully the countryside looks great now, you know, especially with rain outside and that at the moment. It's great to see. You know, I love seeing rain. I think it's sort of always annoyed me a little bit when I'm in Sydney, people going, oh, it's bloody rain. I'm going, I love the rain, especially being on a farm. It's sort of rain means life and rain means a future. So, you know.
So are your brothers still out there?
My one brother is, the other one's living up in on a little block in Casino, just out of Casino. So
the sweet country.
Yeah. So they're looking this morning. They're allowed back into Queensland, bit by bit, I suppose.
The border towns are growing.
Yeah.
Now I remember seeing the Noll brothers. Gimpy Master Crowbar, 1 a.m. I've got friends in low places. That's right. Are they still playing music?
Yeah, the boys asked. Damien's still writing. Damien's still playing drums for me a little bit. He played drums on the weekend. Ad's still playing, but his wife is immune deficient, so they've had to be pretty careful the last sort of 6 to 8 months with what's going on. So they've sort of been a little bit locked up and locked away on the farm, which is for her safety, of course, and which has been really beneficial for them. Sort of keeping away from it. But when we get together, we always try and pull out the guitar and that. Oh, and that's what we always did. I remember when we were young, we'd walk down the street in the Cross, coming down to watch a cricket or something, and we'd give a busker $20, because they're normally used to 5 cents or whatever, $1 or $2 or whatever. So $20 they jump at it, and then we'd start playing a few songs together and a few harmonies and that, and people started gathering around. Then whatever money we made, we'd give to the guy, the busker. So we always used to do that sort of thing. That was a real beauty and the reason why we played, just for the simple enjoyment of it. So, back home the pubs would shut at 12 and we'd be back at my brother's house by 1:30 or something, just jamming away. So there's always a bit of music involved when we get together.
It's always great to have a little quiet wind down,
Yeah.
back at home with a guitar, just really before bed, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
half an hour or so.
Yeah, that's right. I remember one time, I think we were in Narrabri, and one particular brother just kept pulling songs out. I reckon he played for 6 hours. Just about. I'm going like, man, he's been doing some practice. Listen to the repertoire on him. He's going from Kenny Rogers to bloody John Williams and anyone else. It was really
They start
good.
bouncing around then. It's like, we'll go from Kenny Rogers, a bit of Dolly, Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah,
Here we go.
a bit of Blink-182.
Yeah,
You're
Limp
beauty.
Bizkit, yeah. Back to Slim.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit there about Condo, the town, because
Yep.
one thing I find funny about that part of New South Wales is it kind of is where the unofficial kind of Aussie rules line begins, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So south of there is the Riverina. Tullabajir is where we actually grew up. About 75 k's to Condo, and it's considered Northern Riverina. Yep. Where Tullabajir was 50 k's from all the Danahers come from. So there's their AFL royalty, and then you go into Condo, and it's the bottom of the Central West, so that's where you get. Then you go into Dubbo and Parks and all that sort of stuff, which is real pretty dyed-in-the-wool league territory. So, we grew up out there playing rules and Saturday league on Sunday. Couldn't walk till Wednesday, but but it was great times. Our first seniors Aussie rules on Saturday and under 18s on Sunday, and we just had a blast. It was just everything was about footy, and we did a lot of Ks though. We were playing against Narandra and Leeton in the rugby league, and then Cobar and that in the Aussie rules. So we did a fair bit of Ks.
That is a nudge,
Yeah.
and there was a bit of talent in the family.
Yeah. My brother played Teal Cup for New South Wales, and the other one first grade here in Sydney for playing cricket.
Yeah.
We're related to the Stephen Mark Wall, so we're sort of cricket's pretty solid in our family, and and golf and everything. I suppose growing up on the land in a small town like that, sports everything. You play whatever you can to fill in the gaps, in between going to the pub, which something to get you out of the pub. But it was always it's that social thing that's built around sport in small towns. Like I remember growing up playing night tennis.
Yep.
And we were part of a night tennis team that as we played different other teams Tuesday and Thursday nights and stuff like that. But it was just great because I suppose before video games and all that sort of stuff, we're just out playing sport, so it was really good.
Yeah, it must have been a pretty quiet place, Condo, back in the mid-90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely, mate. When you go back there, most of the time you see everyone at the pub. It's not because everyone's winos or anything out there. It's just central place. People go there for dinner. And that's where you sort of run into everyone. So it's just a good social sort of place,
Another guest we had on recently, Jeff Thompson.
Oh yeah,
Australia's fastest bowler. His family from out there too, Condo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
So, it must be a little bit of a, I guess you'd say, a little bit of a feeder club.
Yeah.
Feeder town for Australian sport.
Right. Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure you've kind of gone over this journey many times, speaking to the mainstream media. But we're not the mainstream media, so we'll get the fresh, unabridged take from Shannon Noll.
Beautiful. About time. Thank God for that.
Yeah. We'll get into crazy horse later. But this is season 1, Australian Idol.
Yeah.
So Australian Idol kind of came into everyone's households with you already in it. How did you stumble across this thing that no one knew anything about at that point?
Yeah, it was really strange actually. I'd seen a couple of ads, and a few people had said to me, because we had a cover band cruising around Forbes, from Forbes of Bathurst to down to Wagga and Lake Jellicoe and all around that sort of area. A few friends and plus some family members and that had said, "Oh, have you seen this talent show? The singing contest show?" And I said, "I've seen it." And they said, "We think you should go on it." I said, "Well, they don't specify where the auditions are. Like there was all the ads were saying, that it's coming, but there was nowhere that you could, and they definitely weren't, going to turn up in Forbes looking for auditions sort of thing. So
the Forbes Town Hall.
Just turn up at, the Parks RSL and you'll be right.
Down the townie or something. Yeah.
It just was pretty much luck really. I was, so I was on the radar, I was sort of looking into it, and then I was having to be down in Melbourne for, my wife was down there for dress fitting for a sister's wedding, and I went down to pick her and my 2 little blokes up. my sister-in-law down there said, "Oh, have you seen the ad? You should go on it." Same sort of deal. And I said, "I don't know where the auditions are." So she jumped straight in the computer. Duh. I probably should have done that in the first place. But yeah, and she said,
No one's telling me. Where am I going to find out?
Yeah, because I wasn't big on computers, because back in them days on the farm you didn't need one, but now, of course, they drive your tractors.
Yeah. And you'd have to turn the landline off to get on.
That's right, they'll modem. But yeah, so they happened to be in Melbourne the following weekend. So I rang my brother, who was the coach of the footy team, and we'd forfeited twice. And if you forfeit 3 times, you have to fold. And my grandfather played for that club, my dad played for that club, my brothers and I did as well. So I said to my brother, I said, "Oh, you know them auditions," because he'd also said to go on it. I said, "They're on here in Melbourne next weekend, but I've got to come out and play footy." He said, "What?" I said, "Because if you forfeit again, we'll be kicked out of the comp." And he said, "Look, I'm the coach." He said, "Don't worry about the football, just stay there and do that." And as it was, we only got 13. We needed 15 to field a side. So if I'd have gone home, we'd only had 14, so we'd have folded anyway.
Yeah, right. So it's not a sliding doors moment.
No, not at all.
The club was folding, mate. Get out of town while you can.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, and then so I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, went over and lined up with 6,000 other people.
And who was it that you reckon had a shine for you out of the panel?
I was pretty lucky, actually, because there was 100 of us put through over 2 days, and I think there was 8,000 people or something auditioned them 2 days, and we had to come back on the Tuesday. And I was really late in the afternoon. There's some bloody great singers in that room on that Tuesday, and they just kept coming out, with their head in their hands, going like, "Oh, Dick as an asshole," and I'm going, "Oh, this bloke's going to eat me alive," And then, funnily enough, I was always a huge Southern Suns fan. Hold Me in Your Arms popped into my head, and I hadn't thought about that song in years and years, like probably 4 or 5 years, I suppose. And it just popped into my head again, and I got up in there and they said, "Oh, dear, have you got any other songs? Have you got any Aussie songs?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I have actually." So I sang Hold Me in Your Arms, and the producer goes, "That's the one." He said, "Make sure you sing that one in front of the judges." Yeah. So that's what I did, and shitting bricks, I suppose.
Yeah.
And nervous as buggery, so I closed my eyes while I'm singing, and they were all pretty positive. So I got three thumbs up and straight through. There was only 6 of us went through, I think, then out of that 8,000 or something.
Yeah, right.
So you only had to sing for the producer for 5 seconds, and they were like, "Yep."
Because they put you through a couple first. Like there was this girl who was like, she was probably, she looked like she was about 16 or something. I was singing, she worked for the company somewhere, and she went, "Yeah, no, you can go to the next stop as the producer, executive producer." So I seen him, and I sang Ben first from Michael Jackson. Yeah. And then he went, "Oh, you know any Aussie songs?" And then I sang Hold Me in Your Arms, and he went, "Yep, that's the one, stick with that one." And then so I came back on the Tuesday and then went in there and just sang a verse and a chorus. And
I've always wondered that, because you always see...
Yeah, you're straight to the judges. Wow, they're patient. They're going through
there
like...
There are people who come on who are just like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I saw... Mate, there's a lot of it to entertainment value, you know what I mean?
So a few hospital passes. Yeah, mate, they'll love you. Go in there.
Oh, you're set. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I always wondered that, because there would be people getting their heads torn off by Dicko if he had to sit through 8,000 people.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, yeah, no, 100%. So they do whittle them down. So, that time there's 100 odd people that had to get through on the one day. So,
and obviously, I mean, we all know how that all turned out, and Opera House, and you ticked that box before your career even started performing there, and it became this show that everyone remembers, the first season particularly. Yeah. What was it like? 'Cause you got all these people from all different parts, all different walks of life, all different parts of the world. And, we've interviewed Guy Sebastian too, and he even said it himself. He's like, we had Modern Australia in that room. We had the country, the guy who'd been raised on country music, and we got this kind of multicultural kid from Adelaide who's a bit of church in him, and we got all kinds of stuff going on. Loves indoor cricket for some reason.
He does love indoor cricket, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a real urban kid. Plays cricket indoors kind of kid. And then of course, Nollsy. And that was, it was just a perfect final two. Yeah. But then you've got to, I imagine there's a lot of, you guys get trotted out, even the final 12, final 10, final 8. And so you've got what was it like going on basically school camp with these kids? Yeah,
well, it was a really different sort of experience in the sense that it was all such a competition, but there was no real competition between us. Like, I think Guy and I especially thought the other one would win for a start, you know what I mean? I sort of earmarked each other to go well anyway. But we were sort of it was just this mad journey that we're all trying to keep our head above water in, that was so, out of our comfort zone. And even the people running the show, it was their first time doing it. It was the first time the show, second time or third time in the world. I think the US one was first, and maybe the Brit one was second, and then we were third or something. But I think it was just such a whirlwind ride. We were sort of, just trying to survive in there. So we were there for each other along the way, and we helped each other out, and we looked out, kept an eye on each other and that sort of thing too. So there was never a sense of, I'm going to spike his breakfast this morning, so, anything. So something happened, we're all sort of in there going, like, just holding on, like on a life raft, and there's one goes and another one goes until there was only two of us left.
Because you're playing in front of thousands of people all of a sudden. You'd have to be a psychopath to get competitive in that environment.
Yeah, you would do. Exactly right. You'd have some fairly mad driving skills, So just the TV thing too was a big scary one, because all of a sudden I was used to just banging out pub gigs, you know what I mean? Like, people sculling beer and shots and all that sort of stuff, and the band and me sculling beer and shots, and all of a sudden into this environment where there's no band behind you.
Yeah.
You're just out there on this stage, and it's live, 100% live to air. So if you drop the mic or you trip over or you forget the words or something, there's no like, oh, sorry, can I just do that again? It's sort of there for everyone to see. So you're very, very exposed and sort of vulnerable, I suppose. But that's what made it beautiful, I think, too. And it was the very first time, like, I think we took the journey with the people watching it. None of the viewers at home knew it was going to happen any given minute. Neither did we, really, because we were sort of, a bit like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed on shit, you know what I mean? So, so we were sort of 1 minute to the next, we didn't know what was happening. So I think that's what made it honest and pure,
So how long were you locked in that machine for? Like
12 weeks.
Like who was at home, having a look at the waters and,
Well, we'd actually lost the farm before then. We'd actually sold the farm, and I was actually just doing working at mates' properties who had a bit of work whenever they did, some crop spraying for some mates or crutching for another mate or things like that. So there wasn't a lot happening at home at all, So, it sort of all built up to this one turning point that sort of just came along, and it was the only turning point, really. It was the only way to go. So, or at least one thing to have a go at,
Can you tell us a little bit about those few months after you were one of the most famous people in Australian history?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like growing up in a small town, everybody and everyone knows you. It's sort of like that, except you just don't know anyone. It's like Sydney.
Everyone in Sydney knows you.
Hey, Shen, you know what I mean? Going, yeah, do I know that person? No, I don't. So it was pretty crazy, that side of it, I felt like the old security guard for a long time until I started getting down to the 6 or something. They're going like, oh, there's that bloke from out west, you know what I mean? But it was an amazing journey, an amazing ride. When you share an experience like that, you know what I mean, it sort of creates a bond that stays there for a long time,
Have you had any reunions? Any secret reunions?
Oh, no, not really. I did a thing Today FM this time last year. Something was a bit of an idle reunion, which was a bit of fun. I haven't seen a few of the guys for ages, so it was really good.
And then obviously you stay, you pump out the album, you pump out a few songs there. Well, obviously there was the motion pictures cover that you kind of came in with, and then of course, and then all your own stuff after that. You brought the boys with you. You brought your hometown band with you.
No, my brothers came. We'd sort of, I just sort of came straight into this. Actually, most of the Idle band was the first band that I had. Right. There wasn't a lot of people wanting to work with me after the show. I just think within the industry, they really loved to hate it. Because it was, like sing in the shower and then you can have a number one. All these people in the industry going like, how hard I've worked.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't understand.
The session artists.
Yeah, but the biggest thing with it was the whole top 12 had been performing and touring for years and years and years. So it wasn't just I sang in the shower last week and now I'm a recording artist, So, but within the industry it was, this is just total bullshit and all that sort of stuff. So it was really hard to get any support. So I couldn't get a production company to work with me. So we couldn't in front of house and musical equipment and stuff like that.
Really?
no one wanted to borrow it.
Bit of a black flag raised on you.
Yeah, a little bit. But then the first, 90 shows sold out, so they were pretty keen to get on board after that, of course.
Yeah, this guy might be a star.
We might make some money out of him.
So what was your experience like, entering the machine that is the recording industry? Like, were you a bit kind of naive at the start? You didn't really...
Yeah, of course, the business itself as a whole nother beast, you know what I mean? But, I've done a little bit of dabbling in recording and stuff like that and writing and things like that, but we were mostly a pub rock band,
Yeah.
We had a few originals and that sort of stuff, but we weren't trying to get a record deal or anything like that.
Right.
So it was a little bit of a different step to perform your own music and writing your own music. I think Mark Holden said to me one time, writing's like an art form, you can get better at it the more you practice, which I definitely agree with. So over the years, I got to become a better writer than I was at the start. At the start, they sent me out of the States to write with people like Desmond Child, who's written like 58 number ones. And everything I'd say, he'd go, no, you can't say that. And I'd go, well, I'll just go and lay down and then have a sleep. And then when it's finished, you just tell me.
Yeah.
But you learn so much off these people, and because everyone has their own way of doing things and songwriting in general.
Yeah.
So you're just like a sponge, I suppose, in the early days, But obviously, too, it's a very cutthroat industry, and if they're not making money out of you, you're pretty fastly chucked on the heap, So
Have you felt like that a few times? Because obviously there's so many different incarnations of Nollsy. Like you're always, 1 minute, it'll be the Australian Idol kind of flame has died down, and you're still on the circuit, and you're still doing the musters and that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden you're doing a Origin halftime or something like that, and so you've kind of got you ups and downs. Have you felt that throughout the career?
Oh, it most definitely, and sometimes it's just sort of no matter how sort of desperate sometimes it's gotten, there's always something that pops up that keeps it going. Sort of I'm sitting there going like, that's it and done and dusted, and then all of a sudden an opportunity will pop up somewhere and that'll throw you a lifeline type thing. But that's it's the same with actors, I suppose. They mightn't do anything for 10 years and all of a sudden they just jag a role and they win an Oscar for it or something.
Travolta 101. I don't think you're that bad, mate. Travolta, where the hell did he go? Pulp Fiction is back.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that leads me to the next question, you definitely had a social media
overhaul
renaissance.
At one time,
There was something happened in Australia where obviously your comments were loaded up with blokes asking to borrow your lawnmower.
Yeah.
And that's like the quintessential Aussie bloke is Shannon Noll, and that's how they're going to treat you.
Yeah, it was really funny because that sort of came about over a series of posts, and it created this machine, So the first one, there used to be a writing thing here in Sydney late in the year. It was 50 songs in 5 days, so a heap of writers come together, a heap of producers come together, and so you send you off in groups of 4 and you just write for the whole week with different people. Anyway, on the Wednesday night, there's American producers always there, and he would cook fish tacos. And I'd never made it to the Wednesday night, so I said, hey, I don't mind cooking at home. And I cooked this fish tacos at home. And I'm pretty proud of them. So I went, chucked the photo up there, not even thinking about it, and all of a sudden, bet that's not the first fish taco. So I went, oh, crikey, I should have seen that coming. Anyway, then about 2 weeks later, I was in the Cross, just in a recording studio, and I found this $5 note in the ground and had stains and rips, and I was just intrigued, going like, well, if that $5 note could talk. So I did a post about that, and then people started going, oh, mate, that's my $5. I'll grab that off you whenever I can. And them two things morphed into this whole way of answering every post I did, And I started off with a sexual connotation. I bet that's not the first. So, I was visiting my horse one day, and I said, I love this beautiful little horse. She's a ripper. Just a shame I didn't have time to ride her. I was baiting him at that stage. I bet that's not the first filly you've ridden. And then it just turned into I borrowed everything from Whippersnippers to Harry Potter box sets,
That was
Friends trilogies.
My favourite one I saw was you sat on the there was a podium somewhere at Alex, and you sat down on the second place. You went, oh, second place, not again. And someone goes, one of the comments was, I bet you secretly sat on the first place for a little bit there. Just yanking your chain, Shannon, have a good one.
Oh, no, that was very funny there for a while. Absolutely.
But can you tell us why you passed up the offer to play the King of the Mountain, Peter Brock?
I didn't.
Mate,
I didn't pass it up. No.
That's fake news.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it?
fake news. Yeah, I'll tell you what actually happened. The movie was called King of the Mountain.
Yeah.
Brocky was involved. I was supposed to play the lead role, which was about a bit of a loose mechanic. He's a bit of a rat bag, so he go on street race in Sydney on the weekends, and he's a bit of a lout, you know. So anyway,
I'd watch it.
Yeah, well, so Bathurst Council were going to enter a team into the Bathurst 24-hour.
Yeah.
And they had 4 drivers, and I got a Guernsey, so I was one of the drivers. Right. So as the story went, we were against Brocky and his team, and Brocky played himself in the Holden team. Merrick Watts was supposed to play European touring car driver. It was so much like Talladega Nights. It's not funny. Like the European Porsche driver or whatever.
Yeah, and
like,
he's doing an accent.
Yeah, sure. Ricky Bobby. So anyway, as the story went, because 24 hours, we had this little mini. We totally gutted it and put this massive big fuel tank in it. Anyway, Brocky wins. Long story short, Brocky wins easily. But because we haven't stopped for fuel, we're like 3 laps in front, and this little thing's driven into the ground. She's about had enough, and it conks out about 100 metres from the finish line. And the European touring car driver, he's flown past me. He's got 1 lap to go, and I get out and start pushing. And finally, as he's flying down the straight, I just push it over the line to come second and beat him. So that was the story. But then I think what happened was they wanted to use 24-hour original footage from the actual races, and they were going to charge them like 4 times more than they had in their budget for the whole movie.
Yeah, right.
And then horribly we lost Brocky. So
okay.
So he was supposed to play himself, and I was just this bloke who's in awe of Rocky, but could drive, but not as focused as I maybe should have been. So
it was in development.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And we were all going to stay at the big motel that's now at
City Gate.
Now it's Bathurst. So I was absolutely spewing because
that would have been a bit of fun.
I just I really related to the character because he was a bloke that nobody thought would make it, but he had a heap of talent, and he not that I'm saying that about myself, but he was sort of going like he was an unknown quantity, but he was just not as focused as he probably should have been, but he was throwing a lifeline and he made the most of it. So
have you done much acting?
A little bit, yeah, here and there. I actually did a short film when I was about 15 with one of my best mate's brother was producing it. So I'll have to get out one day. It was pretty classical, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll put the word out now. Screen Australia.
Yes,
we
there
have.
you go.
So we have the next Hemsworth in waiting sitting here.
Yeah. I've got to grow a bit. Them boys are tall. Good fellas, mate.
Yeah.
Mate, this is a question that was put to us by a lot of our readers. They want to know about the birth of the soul patch.
Yeah. Well, it originated because I couldn't grow a decent enough goatee like my brothers had.
Yeah.
And then,
you wanted the chin strap.
Yeah. And then my mother, my missus didn't like it, so I went, well, fucking don't tell me what to do, I'll keep it. So then I obviously kept it, and it was hard to control. It had a life of its own, that thing. You wake up in the morning, all the vodka's gone, and you go like, what's happened? Oh, I know what's happened. And there's a little soul patch on the lounge. Just going.
The flavour soda.
It was like that, this is going to hurt Shannon tomorrow, but...
How long did you have it for?
Oh, years, long time, mate. Yeah. Probably, it was really funny, because after the show, there was like this unspoken bond between me and every other dude that had one. We just walk down the street and they go, hey.
The nod, the nod.
That was really cool.
Now, I said this isn't mainstream media, so we're not gonna sensationalise things.
Yeah.
But you've had a few incidents over the years where you're just being a run-of-the-mill bloke.
Yeah.
My question to you is, we don't want to talk about any of that. They've missed out on a lot too, right? You've been touring with bands for so long. I always wonder that. I reckon blokes touring pubs get into more trouble than Shannon Noll does.
Yeah, mate. It's rock and roll, but there's some crazy shit happens, man. Far out. Like I've seen a lot of stuff over the years. Blokes jumping off stage, just starting to punch on it with people in the crowd.
The Daily Telegraph would love this, wouldn't they?
Yeah, for sure. Not that I ever did that.
There's a whole current crop of musicians that are coming up, who haven't had the privilege of performing where there's no camera phones.
No, well, exactly right, mate. But that's brought down football stars and there's a lot of
politicians.
You
name it.
They should have come out with a disclaimer on that bastard. No, but I mean, I grew up on stories of Jimmy Barnes and real rock and rollers, man. You know what I mean? So that sort of thing to me, like, not that I ever went out looking for trouble. It was just misreported on most of it. There's some goose from Adelaide gets up there, goes, he's trying to get in. We'd been in there for 4 hours, mate. You know, they
Yeah.
ripped me off money, that's all. And I tried to get it, I'm leaving asking for the money back, that's all. And they went, talk it out the front. I'm going, just give us the money back.
Yeah.
And then-
And no one cared when they reported it. They were like, if anything, everyone was like, good on you, Knowlesy.
Yeah.
We're
And I'm
there.
going like, well, man, how many, you know, because bands, like half the bands on the bill that afternoon said they were going to that place.
Yeah.
Because it's just a go-to place where you don't get annoyed because everybody else in there doesn't want any selfies while they're in there either, you know what I mean? So you don't have someone coming up going, you go home to your missus going, I got a selfie with the choir boys last night. What's that in the background? I mean...
Where were you with them?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What is the wildest town you reckon? I've seen you in a few towns. I've seen you in Broken Hill. I've seen you in Bathurst. I've seen you in Toowoomba.
Gimpy.
Gympie.
Yep.
Gympie. Yeah, you had the main stage there actually.
Yeah, Gympie's great. Yeah, I reckon. What's the big one just out of Perth?
Kalgoorlie.
Kalgoorlie, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kalgoorlie, yeah.
They got
Because
a
they
bit
go, like, you're going down the pub to have a look at the skimpies, and I'm going, like, what, they got seafood down there? I thought it's scampies they have, I don't know. I'm going, like, well, we're...
No.
Big fancy
Well,
prawns, yeah.
Women.
In the middle of the desert.
I'm going, we're a long way from the beach. You sure they're okay?
No, Shannon, we mean the FIFO strippers.
Well, I worked at it.
Brought him out here from King's Cross, mate.
I worked at it when I got out there. Bloke come up to me and he goes like, "Oh, what's it feel like to be drinking in Australia's roughest pub?" And I went, "It feels like home to me, mate."
Yeah, they got a bit of money to blow around there too.
Oh yeah. No,
imagine
it's
they
good
don't mind a night
times
at
up
the
there.
pub.
But I had a great time up there. You know, like I sort of. There's just hard-working people everywhere, you know, and nothing different than the people who I grew up with. So, you know, the people work hard, let off some steam, you know. I don't think, anyone doing out of line, you know, intentionally way out of line, anything like that, you know, they get pulled up pretty quick out in places like that. So, whereas down here, it's a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't happen as much, not accepted enough or what, but the difference is, you know, people don't get away with it.
Do you reckon in cities like Brisbane and Sydney you get pestered more?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. They all sort of differ a little bit. Melbourne, I get a lot more people come up to me and ask for photos and that sort of stuff. Whereas I think Sydney's a little bit, especially in the city and that, they're sort of a little bit busy doing what they're doing anyway, you know, which is fine with me. I'm not walking around going like, hey, you know, I haven't got a car that says you just walk past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Known from. Just to jog
You guys
the memory.
remember season 1?
That's right. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, mate. It's just, you know, I do find that I don't leave the house like I'm going on stage, but I think there's a lot of people who do. You know, they're going down to buy the milk and they've got all their jewellery on and they're rocking on their leather pants.
Nick Cave does that. He won't leave the house without the trench coat and the gold chain.
Yeah, so I was sort of cruising around when we were living in Shire, you know, down Miranda there with thongs and a singlet on, that sort of stuff, and
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, sort of, you know.
What's the go with this new album you've done? Like you're working actually with a band called Southbound.
Yeah.
And they're a lot of they're from all over the world. A lot of the you know, the artists that you're working with.
Yeah, the girls are amazing. Actually, they're a sort of I'd class them as a supergroup sort of thing. They're all well on their way with their own careers, on the journey of their own careers, and they've all come together to put some great music out. You know, and they're all very very accomplished musicians and vocalists as well. So it was a great opportunity to write with the girls. You know, I was thinking like the creepy old man for a start there. Yeah. But we wrote a pretty nice little song, I reckon. You know, they've had a couple out about drinking songs already, and went, damn it, we can't do that one. I know I've got a fair bit of experience with that subject. I probably had a bit to write about, but we ended up writing a nice little song, and you know, the girls, like I said, were great, really great to work with, and I think they'll. I think, you know, they've really got what it takes from the look side of things to the performance and to the actual capability and the talent, you know. So I hope they go really, really well, you know, and just hoping that they can, you know, throw a bit of promo my way for my career. I think, it's a two-lane street. We're just trying to support each other and see how it goes.
You've just come back from Darwin.
Yeah.
Is there anything else on the horizon for you?
Yeah, mate, we've got a few shows like lined up. You know, it's slowly but surely here. You know, like we've got a few acoustic shows lined up, and bits and pieces like that. You know, it was just so great being in Darwin. Felt like
Yeah.
like the old days. If that's what you are, I hate calling it that too, but that's the way they're making us feel. Like, oh, this
6
is
months ago.
the new.
I think that's how most people feel.
Yeah, we just want to get back to
when they
normal.
hop off the aeroplane in Darwin. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
it was just fantastic. I went down the pub and you sort of rah, because there's so many people in there. You had to talk over everyone. I'm going,
Are
wow.
they allowed to stand up in the pub?
Yeah, it's like no social distancing, anything, mate. It's just like, hey, it was great. I'm going like, you know what? I might put my flight back and stay up here for a while.
Yeah, wild. Now, can you tell us, if you don't mind us asking, a very personal question, but you've sung a song related to this. What are you driving nowadays?
I've got a 100 Series Land Cruiser at the moment, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just sort of...
speed demon.
Yeah, it's the old V8 one. She's a bit thirsty, but it's just a lot of fun to bash around in, you know what I mean? It's not too precious or anything like that, and do a bit of four-wheel driving and stuff like that, and you can't break them. You know, I think they're the best model out of a lot of them, so it's just a lot of fun to be driving around. And mate, I took it to the muffler shop and he said, "Oh, make this sound better than an SS." And I went, "Oh, yes." And it sounds grumbly too. It's great. Yeah, so it's just a bit of a fun thing because, you know, over the years you sort of you get sponsor cars and stuff like that, and then they're never yours, so you can't. Because I love my cars, and because it's such an integral part to country people. Like if you haven't got a car that performs well, you know, you're stuck once on the side of the road, you know, with something wrong, and you will never try and do it again. You know what I mean? Because out here, I mean, at 45 degrees on the side of the road, you don't want to be there too long with a car that you've cooked or something. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of SS utes out the front of humpies. All around this country.
It's a lot of people, you know, take a lot of pride in their cars. So
Becomes parts pretty quick.
That's right.
If they can't get one part to fix it.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for joining us today, Nollsy. It's been a great yarn. All the best with this new release.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me. I'm a big fan of what you do here too. So yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks,
Shannon. Beauty.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Everyone, sounds like we should get to Darwin soon.
Road trip.